First of all, thank you all for coming here today. We just wanted to do a series of rollouts for the next couple of days of bills that have not gotten much attention that we believe are important bills that we want to keep Connecticut moving forward. And we're talking about items like economic growth, lowering costs of government through public-private partnerships, improved transportation, and also certain fiscal responsibility to foster confidence and investment in Connecticut. We've always talked about the need to have stability and predictability for people, for families, and for businesses in the state of Connecticut. And the way you do that is by creating opportunities to enhance state services, have economic growth, once again, financial stability, and reduce the cost of government. You do that by leveraging the private-public partnerships, investments in transportation that are sound and prudent and also will roll out for years, and investing in our defense industry here in the state of Connecticut. So a couple of those bills we're going to roll out. I'm first going to introduce Kevin Kelly to talk about public-private human services partnerships. Kevin?
Thank you very much, Senator Fasano, and thank everybody for being here with us this morning. I believe that there is a role and purpose for government, and one of the most important roles of government is to provide services to our citizens, and in particular what I'm going to talk about are services for those individuals in need, basically the state's human service delivery system. What we have is a two-tiered system, and we have done research, and it demonstrates that private providers can provide better quality and more services than those provided by the public sector. What this bill would do is not only demonstrate an alternative to the current delivery system, but it demonstrates the better way of actually providing more services to more individuals of higher quality at a lower cost. It's going to do more with less at a time when we have less resources and growing demand. Personally, I can explain that when somebody does deal with the Department of Social Services, in today's DSS, you go to a call center, and it's not uncommon to have an hour or 2 hour wait time to get a person on the other end of the phone. And you can only deal with one case at a time. You couldn't ask for 2 or 3 cases at a time. And in the day and age of modern technology, where we have iPhones and email and text, and we have people that are who experience an Amazon Prime type of experience, to have a system for human services that is so antiquated and backward, it just doesn't meet today's technological or consumer demands. And that operates as a hardship to people in need. And what this bill will do is it will bring those types of developments and incentives so that people that are on human services have a better experience with government, but it's also going to be done in a more cost-effective and lower cost. I think this is a way that we can do more with less, and as I said at the outset, I believe this to be a better way. We'll also look at creating a partnership or a council between the human services of DSS, developmental services, children and family, mental health and addiction, so that they can then look at human services across the spectrum and also include the Department of Motor Vehicles and look to see where we can provide services in other agencies at a higher quality and a lower cost. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. I want to talk about another thing we have up, which got to the Senate but was never called, which is the contribution to a citizen in need account. Given the changes of the federal law with the $10,000 SALT deal, this citizen in need account is a trifecta win. And what I mean by that is, let's assume hypothetically someone were to make a $10,000 donation to the state of Connecticut in the Citizen Need account, which would be, they would dictate who they want this to go to, whether it was a not-for-profits that we fund or other social services, drug addiction services, DSS programs, you could dictate. But if you did a $10,000 deduction, $10,000 contribution, and you gave them a 200% deduction, not tax credit, deduction, that would be about a $5,000 deduction from your taxes. And at the highest tax rate, I think that's about $1,400. So for the state getting $10,000, they're giving up $1,400. So the state's out of the game. On the federal side, you get a contribution, because it doesn't fall under the SALT, of $10,000 of that $10,000 charitable contribution. So now you lower your federal tax. And then back to the state side, because you're getting a $1,400 deduction, it actually gives you more room to take advantage of that 10,000 max should you apply. So it is a trifecta of results with no downside. I would also tell you that we have in the state of Connecticut, if you get a refund on your taxes in the state of Connecticut, you can direct, I think there's 7 different organizations that you can direct the DRS to send your refund to. So it's not without precedent where you can make a donation. You don't get a tax credit for that or tax deduction, but you can say, I want my refund check to go to these 7 different things, current law. So it would be sort of embracing that aspect as well. I think this is, once again, working out of the box. We can fund our social services by federal government subsidizing those people who want to do that. And then you could put less money in those social services by having that as a supplement, so it's a budget saver. Or you could have it as an addition to the money going to those social services. So it's a unique way of using the tax laws to benefit the state of Connecticut and the social services.
Are you talking about a credit on your state taxes?
Yeah, it would be a tax deduction on your state taxes.
But if it was deductible at the federal level, your AGI would go down anyway, so you would already.
It's deducted below the line after your adjusted gross income. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay. The next issue is our prioritized progress, which you've heard a lot about. We've changed it a little bit, and I'd like to call Senator Henry Martin to talk about that.
Thank you, Senator Fasano. I am the ranking member on the Transportation Committee, and with the other lawmakers, we're working every day to figure out how to improve our transportation from one end of the state to the other. I'd like to talk today about the Republican prioritizing progress proposal. It was first proposed in 2015 and annually has been updated. Prioritizing Progress is a transportation funding plan that works within current state resources to provide $65 billion for transportation infrastructure projects over the next 30 years. Most important, it relies on no tolls, no new tax increases. It guarantees a steady, predictable flow of funding for transportation infrastructure. When fully implemented, it operates within Connecticut's new bond cap, borrowing no more than allowed under the cap. It protects bonding for core needs such as the schools, the clean water, LoCEP for the economic development in smaller towns, for municipalities, and STEEP for the smaller communities for economic development. At the same time, it prioritizes transportation investments. Instead of using additional bonding for pet projects and political handouts, this plan requires that all bonding above and beyond the state's core investment needs must go towards transportation infrastructure projects. Thank you.
And for transportation project prioritization, Senator Tony Wong.
Thank you, Senator Fasano. Thank you, Senator Martin. I think I am in full support, and people should truly read the Prioritized Progress program that we have put forth as the Senate Republicans. It is a plan
that has details and a vision. That being said, I proposed a transportation prioritization bill that will look to reestablish the strategy board, the Transportation Strategy Board, as well as possibly reporting to the Transportation Committee a list of priorities in our transportation project. What we have right now is a mishmash of projects that has no prioritization, has no sense of project 1 through 10 through 20. It has been a process of political selectivity. And so for us, the top transportation priorities need to be transparent. It needs to understand that our priorities and public safety should be first. But ultimately, when we're able to predict and present a product to the general public and to our businesses, it will help our economy and our state. So I want to thank the Senate, Senator Fasano and the caucus for taking that position, and I hope we will be able to proceed on that. Thank you very much.
I would like to talk now about an initiative, a cutting-edge initiative that looks at a Buy Connecticut program by offering sales tax exemption and R&D tax credits to our defense manufacturing industry that creates, I'm going to say, world-class products that does a whole host of different things. And as a senator from the Stratford-Shelton area, you know, I'm proud of the fact that we build the world's best helicopter. But our defense industry makes these world-class products because of the highly skilled, highly trained, and educated Connecticut workforce. That's how we were able to attract Lockheed Martin to Connecticut to create and keep jobs here in our great state. We need to look at the things that we do well. The defense industry is an area that I think Connecticut in particular excels at. And this initiative will not only keep and create that highly trained and skilled jobs here in Connecticut, but this is what we intend to grow. This is the type of out-of-the-box thinking that I think we need to do here at the Capitol under the current fiscal crisis that we are facing. And it's demonstrating the better way to look at a lot of the issues and to see ways that we can attract and keep jobs here and continue to make great quality products for the people of Connecticut.
So those are the proposals that we're putting out to sort of shift the dynamics of what we're doing here and build upon some of the things we did last year in a bipartisan budget, and look forward to talking to our colleagues on the other side of the aisle about these programs as well as the governor's staff. Is there any questions with respect to these items, Mark?